Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome in to Inside Arkansas Live. Everybody, happy Friday to all of you out there. Hope you're getting geared up, primed up, ready for the weekend. It's just Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis to get you started today. John's going to be joining us any minute now. He's on his way back from a funeral that he was attending this morning. So looking forward to having him joining us here shortly. But we've got a lot to talk about today as we react to some more Arkansas basketball news as it pertains to recruiting and the scheduling world. The baseball portal is still hot with MLB draft right around the corner. We'll get into that. Yeah, the football conversation continues with SEC Media Days firing up next week. We're going to have the best and worst of the weekend presented by Looper Auction and Realty, a vibe check brought to you by Basis Health as we get into your chats, our fun summer topics presented by Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas and more. But first, Andrew, good day, sir. How are you doing on this fine Friday afternoon?
I'm feeling very good. You know, Fridays, when you have our job and, which is not a real job, I should clarify, and it's the summer, I don't know if there's like anything special about Friday, but it still feels good when you get there, and so I still feel like I accomplished something. And so whether it was earned or not, it does feel good to get to the end of the week. And I'm looking forward to a great weekend. Weather's nice outside. The vibes are good. It's a chill time in sports, but it's a good time in life in the state of Arkansas.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. And a handful of things that we want to get to as we wait on John to get in here. But I do want to start with something that we intended to bring up yesterday, and we just got lost in the sauce of all the basketball excitement and everything that was going on. But some notable and unfortunate news for the football team. We've talked a lot, Andrew, about that wide receiver core. Who's going to step up? Who's going to replace, Andrew Armstrong's production and all that? Is it going to be by committee? Do they have a true number one? Whatever. And one of the guys who was probably talked about the most, or at least amongst the most throughout the course of the spring for being kind of a guy who opened some eyes was Stanford transfer Ishmael Cece. Had a good season for them last year, at least productive, caught a bunch of balls, had 200 and some odd yards, whatever. But a guy who emerged in the spring as a sure-handed receiver. I saw a lot of people with their projected depth charts expected him to potentially be a starter. And from the sounds of it, he broke his wrist in the weight room. And I see Big KG here. Appreciate you for bringing back that to our attention. So it's going to require surgery. Doesn't sound like he's going to be ready for the start of fall camp. What does this mean to you? Because again, everything in that wide receiver room is such an unknown that we're kind of like, well, where are any of these guys going to fit in? But I don't think they're in a position to where they need to be absorbing a lot of blows there from guys that we actually heard positive things about throughout the spring.
Yeah, first I want to congratulate Big KG on a great spelling of Ishmael Cece.
That's
right.
That
was good stuff. I love he just sounded it out. He's like, this is it here. And I'm assuming he did that on purpose. So I know Big KG knows ball. But no, I think there's many ways you can look at this. You could look at it and say, well, it's not like he was this super productive guy anyway. It's not like he was a big time transfer addition. So is he that big of a loss? And that's fair. But at the same time, one thing this Razorback receiving room really desperately needs is just guys who have caught passes in Division I football games. There's just not many of those guys on the roster. Ishmael Cece was one of those few guys, and while he wasn't a big portal pickup that we were all like, wow, he was one of the guys that we heard nothing but good things about throughout the spring. Now, those good things meant, hey, he was going to be a guy that could maybe contribute a little bit and would be a little bit more solid than people expected. So I don't know if it was necessarily rave reviews that he was going to be a star, but he was very much going to be in the mix of that top 3 or 4 for this Arkansas wide receiver room, and now he's not. And again, does it completely change the complexion of the entire roster? Maybe not, but for the receiving room, which honestly, Curtis, might be my biggest question mark of this team when you take into account that this team actually needs the offense to be good. Like, will the D-line be great? No. But does it need to be great? Probably not. But if this team's going to accomplish whatever they want to accomplish, it needs some stability in the receiver room. And Ishmael Cece might have been able to provide some of that. I've told you this story off air before, Curtis, but like, I have a buddy who has a brother that played at Stanford. And so I was like, hey, know anything about this guy? And he was like, listen, all I can tell you about is Ishmael Cece, the person, is a rock star. Like, he is just such a good teammate, such a good leader, such a good Christ follower, all this, like, great man of the community, all that. And so really it just sucks for the kid that, came to Arkansas, was hoping to get another chance, and now he's going to have to wait. And they'll probably have him back at some point throughout the year, right? I mean, I know wrists are important to catching passes, but it just sucks going into the year that one of the guys that you were kind of counting on to give you some level of stability is not going to be able to do that. And now it just puts a little bit more pressure on the Raylan Sharps of the world, the Omega Blakes of the world, and Cam Shanks. guys who we weren't even 100% sure were going to be for real SEC receivers anyway.
Yeah, I would imagine he'll definitely be back. I would think would probably be back and ready for the start of the season. It's a little bit hard to say. I mean, we don't know exactly what he broke. Was it a bone there in the hand near the wrist? Was it in the forearm? What does it look like? What do they have to do? Does he have to be in a cast for a long time? We'll see. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for him is when he gets out of that thing, getting his range of motion back, very important for a receiver. So a lot of diligent and boring rehab and physical therapy, getting his grip strength back because he's going to need that to secure those footballs. But in the meantime, if there's a silver lining, and not that there ever really is when you have an injury, but he's going to be able to do a lot of conditioning. He's still going to be able to run all his routes and work on his footwork and all those things. So he'll be able to stay in shape and, literally hit the ground running whenever he gets cleared there. But what stinks about it for him, chances are he's going to miss a good amount of camp there. And that's when a lot of installs going on. It opens up opportunities for other guys to impress and catch some eyes. And, he might have to work his way back on the depth chart after ending spring in a really good spot there. And I pulled up his stats because I wanted to give an accurate reflection of what he did at Stanford last season. 26 receptions, 241 yards, and a couple touchdowns there. So, a guy that they were relying on, he'll be back at some point, but they won't have him early on. And I'm trying to think. I mean, we'll probably get some kind of update on him from Sam Pittman next week out at SEC Media Day. But never fun when you have an injury to an expected contributor before you even break camp.
And by the way, and so since the inmates are running the asylum to begin the show today, we're going to get into the chat a little bit earlier, not like consistently, but I did want to touch on this comment from Mason because he says, can we still go get another receiver in the portal? And look, on paper, this sounds like a great premise. Here's the problem. Receivers who are good enough to play and contribute in the SEC are not hanging out in the portal in the month of July. Like there are some summer additions you can have here and there, and guys that enter the portal after spring and stuff like that. But no, like you're not really going to go out there and get a guy. You can go out and get a receiver. You can go out and get whatever. Although, really, can they though? Because that window is kind of closed, right?
Would be tough to do. I guess if there's anyone who hasn't been picked up yet, you can pull somebody out of the portal at any time, but there's not going to be new names. And I mean, the way I see it, it's like they got to the end of spring when that portal window opened. They went out and added like 3 more wide receivers at that point, and they weren't necessarily world beaters. You know what I mean? Like it's some high upside guys that maybe you're taking a second chance on or whatever. But as we get close to everybody, starting camp and needing to get enrolled for the fall, I imagine the pickings would be pretty slim from that standpoint.
One of the glitches, Curtis, in the college football video game is when you're doing the dynasty mode, there's like 4 and 5 star guys who just fall through the cracks and don't get any offers. And so you could just like randomly right before signing day, just find a guy with 0 offers. Doesn't really work that way in real life. Like there's not anybody who's like really, I mean, and look, Ishmael Cece is not like this crazy level of production, but even someone with his level of production, they're not just hanging out in the portal in the month of July, just waiting for someone to pick them up. Usually a lot of those moves are made by now. And like you mentioned, they've brought in a couple guys at the end of the spring window, and you saw the level of guy you could really realistically go after and get. It's a guy that hasn't played Division I football for the most part. And so, yeah, it's kind of too late in the process for that. And I think that, again, we know that the coaching staff going into spring, Sam Pittman felt great about it. Then after spring, they go out and get some guys. I think they clearly didn't see some things they wanted to see in the spring, which doesn't mean they won't see them in the fall. But I think anybody who doesn't view this receiving core as a little bit of a question mark going into fall camp is not being honest with themselves, because I think the coaching staff themselves are kind of telling you they don't feel great about what they have going on in the receiver room right now.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty fair assessment. If there's one thing they do have, though, it's numbers. They went out and got a ton of receiving. Now, they lost a lot, but they got plenty of options for somebody to emerge. So maybe this is an open pathway for our guy Antonio Jordan from Warren to get it rolling a little bit and surprise. So at any rate, let's move. Actually, I wanted to pull this up real quick because I just thought it was funny. David said, "I swear to all that's holy, if he broke it on a golf cart." As I understand it, this was a weight room incident. Okay, so he was putting in work in preparation for his sport. He did not pull a Nelly Davis or whoever the kids were. I guess it was 2 years ago that had the scooter incidents on campus. The one kid, I think he blew out his knee or something, one of the offensive linemen, freshman coming in, and he was out for that. This is a sport-specific injury as far as I can tell, and we wish him a speedy recovery.
Also, I wanted to pull this up from Hickory Hog. This is not really a thing. Like all the guys that got processed at SEC schools entered in the spring, and those were kind of the guys you had available there. there's not really like there's nothing happening right now. Fall camp starts in a few weeks. There's not processing happening right now. Like there's not a guy at Alabama right now that they're gonna just pull to the side in the middle of summer workouts and be like, hey, go to Arkansas. We don't have a spot for you here. That's kind of what we're trying to tell you is like there's not really those guys that are going to be able to play in the SEC that are sitting in the portal in this current time in the month of July.
Yeah, and this new thing that just opened or whatever is designed for like those walk-on types of casualties that were going to be impacted by scholarship cuts and everything like that with the revenue share and everything. It was in limbo. Well, now it's gone into effect and all that. So they've opened like a special window for those kids. And who was it? Oh goodness, one of Arkansas's defensive backs took advantage of that. Aiden McCowan, is that who it was?
Aiden McCowan, yeah, he just entered the portal. What was it, 2 or 3 days ago? Aiden McCowan, who some may remember, always showed up on the depth chart whenever we would be doing fastball. Remember, he'd always be like the third team corner. You're like, wait, who? What? What's going on?
Right. Yeah, I see Big KG in there. He calls them the DSAs. That's right, the designated student athletes. That's what that little window was opened up for there. So,
and again, these are not guys that are going to come in and catch passes for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, absolutely not. Okay, can we shift gears? Can we move on from football? John will get back. He'll be excited to talk football with us. But I did want to bring up a couple basketball notes that we have. One in the scheduling world. So, we were at that press conference the other day, and one of the things that Cal was talking about was a schedule. And he's like, hey, you have to schedule to your team. And last year, very famously, he didn't have one, and he certainly didn't know what he had as he was putting that schedule together. So it was a little bit lighter than you would normally get under Coach Cal. I mean, they had a handful, like the Baylor game was a nice one. The Michigan game was good in Illinois. Okay. But there's a lot more spice to this thing this year. And like you said, you schedule to your team. And so that's a pretty good barometer of how good he feels about this group because he's scheduling so aggressively. We know about those marquee games. We'll see what happens with the Baylor one. I know there's a lot of debate back and forth about whether or not that's actually going to happen. But at any rate, one thing he said that struck me, and this is like right out of the Eric Musselman playbook of scheduling, he said, hey, we've got these big games. We're playing the whole Elite Eight or whatever. But one thing that we're also going to do is with our bye games, and the bye games are like the cupcakes that you pay to come to Bud Walton Arena. We're going to schedule teams who were in the NCAA tournament last year, like these mid-majors who won their league or whatever. And I know you guys remember Anthony Ruda doing that during the Eric Musselman days. Well, that's something that Cal wanted to do, and he proved once again to be a man of his word. So Arkansas today, it was Rocco Miller who does a great job just corralling all these non-conference schedules for everyone. I don't know how he does it, but reported that Arkansas is going to play Mount St. Mary's December 16th. Woohoo. Yay. That's very exciting. Well, this is an exact example of what Cal was talking about. Mount St. Mary's, they won 23 games last year. They won the MAAC conference tournament, the AA there. They played in the first 4. They beat American, so they won an NCAA tournament game, and then they lost by like 50 to Duke in the first round. So there you go.
The pronunciation of MAC got me. The MAAC, because there's a difference between MAC and MAAC, so you had to channel your inner goat there. But no, yeah, I love this. I mean, listen, my favorite year of Arkansas basketball was when Eric Musselman and Anthony Ruda just nailed it, where they picked all these non-conference games of teams that wound up being in the tournament. And I know to the average fan, like it may not sound that different playing, Grambling and playing Mount St. Mary's, but that is a very big difference, both in terms of like your resume and net DPI and all that. But in the month of December, as you're ramping up to conference play, and of course, Arkansas will have played some high profile games. They will have played quality competition. As much as I love 54-point blowouts, and hell, or maybe Arkansas will deliver a few of those. I love playing teams like this that are like better than you realize. And, fans are mad because you beat them by 14 points, but it's really like, actually, our team needed that. Like that was actually productive. I mean, who was that team that Arkansas played last year? Was it Maryland Eastern Shore?
That they beat by 80 or whatever it was? Yeah.
And it's like, that did nothing. Like, it's not like it's a bad thing necessarily, but it literally was not a productive day at the office for the Arkansas basketball team. You might as well have not even played the game, both from a resume and a team building standpoint. I love playing these low level, like not to say low level, like mid-major teams that are like sneaky good tests. I think there's a lot of value in that. And again, to the average fan, it may not really seem like that big of a deal, but I know to Coach Cal and to this coaching staff and to those players that, to be honest with you, college athletes, it's really hard to keep them motivated. I think Arkansas is going to have to be motivated for the entirety of their schedule, which is a good thing for the team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I see a few people in the chat saying, "Oh, St. Mary's, St. Mary's." No.
Mount.
Not the St. Mary's that beats Gonzaga every year and gets to the NCAA tournament. Mount St. Mary's, the other side of the country. A good mid-major in their own right, but this is not a team that's on the level of the St. Mary's that we all know from March Madness and everything. Although again, they did win their first 4 game last year, and they played Duke as a 16 seed in the first round and just got ran over. But what do you expect? So
you'd much rather play St. Mary's, the actual St. Mary's, in the tournament. You don't want to play those guys in the regular season.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's one of the biggest myths in the world, is that the other St. Mary's is this just this Cinderella darling. Every time they draw somebody, people are like, "Ooh, yeah, that's my upset pick for sure." You don't want to see St. Mary's, and they've won like 3 tournament games in 15 years or whatever.
They are as much of a March Madness darling as Anthony Black is a triple-double threat. The guy who's never had a triple-double at any level of basketball. It's like, oh, yeah, triple-double threat, but he's never had a triple-double. It's like, well, I mean, how's he a triple-double threat?
Yeah, if you can average a triple single, and if you just have like 6 of everything, people are like, triple-double threat, man. It's crazy. Did Jalen Williams ever get a triple-double at Arkansas?
I don't know for sure. I feel like he didn't. I can't imagine he had a 10 assist game at Arkansas. Because they weren't running that much offense through him. I'm sure he had some 4 or 5 assist games, and I know he had some 10 rebound games. He definitely didn't block 10 shots, that's for sure. I don't think he did, but I don't quote me on that for sure.
All right, fair enough. Another basketball item that I wanted to bring up is Mika Murinen. This is a familiar name to the Pot at the Palace listeners. This is a class of 2026 5-star, guy that's ranked inside the top 15, top 10, depending on where you look. But from Finland, and then he's been over in the U.S. He was playing out on the West Coast, and he was a Brad Beal elite guy, not playing on the grassroots circuit this year. So a lot of people thought, okay, maybe this is a sign that he's going to reclass, and we even flirted with that idea with Arkansas for a while. He cut his list of suitors to a final 7. There's never any rhyme or reason to how these guys go about doing this. Oh, I've got a final 2, a final 4, a final 15. Mika has a final 7. Arkansas is in there. That comes as no surprise. Duke, Michigan, North Carolina, Kentucky, NC State, Indiana, the other schools that are in there. And it's interesting because NC State and Indiana just offered him like this week, and they made the final cut there. So I think there's a little bit of fluff to that list. If I had to pick a leader at the moment, I might say North Carolina lean with him. Michigan and Arkansas, I think probably in that next tier. It's still possible that he reclassifies. If he does at this point, I'd be pretty surprised if it was to Arkansas. I know Cal is talking about, I'm going to visit a prospect this weekend, but the way he was talking about it, like, oh, this is a guy that I know would be here for multiple years. We need depth. We need retention in the program. If Mika reclassifies, it's because he thinks that he can play a year of college ball and then get to the league. So I don't know that he meets the criteria that Cal is talking about here. So I wouldn't get too excited on that front. But there you have it. Notable news with a 5-star that's got Arkansas included in his list as well. And hey, John Calipari is also a man of his word. He told us at the press conference on Wednesday, he was like, listen, I'm hitting the trail to start recruiting tomorrow, and I'm doing what I really like to do today. And he was coaching the team and everything. And like the very next morning, bright and early, he was at like the 8 a.m. game out in Rock Hill, watching some of these recruits. So he was out at Adidas yesterday, and he was watching the big man Arafan Diane. This dude is 6'11", 280, by the way, Andrew. So that's the kind of freshman big man that you would like to see. Good player. Caleb Holt, they were out there seeing Tate Kenny, some other 5-star guards, and Cal was front and center. So when you get to this stage, it's the final live evaluation period. If John Calipari is front and center for your game, he's serious about you. He likes you. And then you start looking at visits and list cuts and everything like that. But anyone that Cal is watching, we need to be paying close attention to this weekend, there in Rock Hill and out at the EYBL thing, and then next week at Peach Jam for sure.
Isn't it weird? Like, if you look at John Calipari's first freshman class at Arkansas with Carter Knox, Boogie Fland, Billy Richmond. Was there a 4th guy in there?
No.
Okay, it's just
Carter,
those
Boogie,
3.
And Billy, yeah, were the 3. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and that was a damn good class. I mean, Boogie Fland, is a very big prospect. Might be a first-round pick this year. Carter might be a first-round pick this year. Billy, we all love. Like, we think he's taking a nice jump. If you really look at it, Curtis, like, that might be the, like, tamest class Cal had, like of the next few classes that Cal has the potential to rattle off here with like some big time 5-star names in there. Like there's a very high ceiling for that. And Arkansas's had no problem getting talent under John Calipari. Like that's one thing we knew he was going to do, and he's done. And I think with the portal class and the high school class, like they've gone out and gotten legitimate one and done type of two and done type of dudes that are NBA threats. But I feel like there's still like room to grow. Like there's actually more, there's a different level of talent. Of course, we've seen Cal recruit classes that like we didn't even know were possible, back in the day, like some of the best recruiting classes we've ever seen at Kentucky. And so it is kind of interesting that like, we might look back and like Isaiah Sealy, who looked great at practice the other day, like someone like that might be the lowest rated recruit we ever see. Like we might never see a guy rated that low commit to Arkansas for a while.
You know, what's crazy is, the Palo Semedo kid that just committed a couple weeks ago to Arkansas, and he was like a virtual unknown, and then he was 2026 for a minute, and then he reclassed, or they reallocated him to 2025. He didn't even have a ranking at some of these places, and all of a sudden you look up and at ESPN and over on On3 Rivals, whatever that mix is called now, he's top 50 in both of those. So this dude just appears out of thin air, and he's, ranked ahead of a guy like Isaiah Sealy in these recruiting rankings. It's kind of crazy to see for sure. But John Neighbors is here. We found him. Let's see.
Yeah, there we go. Usually me in the middle.
There we go. Yeah. All right. We got everything going. John, we did our best to piece this thing together for 20 minutes, and we're very happy you're here now to get this thing back in order.
Well, I know you guys did great, because I was listening to it as I was trying to get home, which it's funny. I don't know if you guys knew this. You guys are Fayetteville living people. Getting to Weddington is a lot quicker than getting back from Weddington. Found that one out. It took me 8 minutes to get to where I was going on Weddington, and it took me 20 minutes to get back. So how about that?
Which direction did you go?
Sounds about right.
Well, it was right off of like the access road going north. So it's like, you're having to get back on and go over the other intersection, over the bridge, and go back on the interstate back. It was that type of thing.
You low key should have just went down towards college.
Well, that's what I ended up doing. And then that's why it took so. I mean, it is what it is. There's no good way, but no. Listen. You guys probably handled it better than I would, anyways. So,
you got any Ishmael Cece takes?
Well, the Ishmael Cece thing is just unfortunate. I was thinking about him, and I know you talked about his athleticism and kind of what was expected out of him and everything. My first thought was like, you could say whatever it is about this roster. You could say whatever it is about the Razorback football team, and if it's talented or if it's better or what problems you have with it or whatever. We can all agree that even if you think it's good or not good, they don't have enough depth at any position to lose any sort of player that's going to be playing this year. Like they just don't. So if you thought CC was going to be the next coming of Traylon Burks, or if you thought CC was not even going to be a guy that got a lot of catches, either way, it's a significant blow because he was somebody they were going to count on. And so that's my first reaction was, we don't know a whole lot about him, but depending on how the significance of the injury and how long he's going to be out, that could be problematic, because you lost pretty much every wide receiver from a year ago, and you have a bunch of new faces. So it's going to be even more difficult if some of those new faces who are supposed to be really good aren't even there. You're just going to have to rely on some of the old faces that are around too. Maybe it's Monty Harrison time finally, guys. Maybe Monty Harrison's going to be the one that steps up.
CJ Brown, come on down.
Hey, you guys have been playing the college football video game. Is it true that they got CJ Brown and Jaylen Brown mixed up or something on the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, Curtis. I've played a quarter and a half with the Arkansas Razorbacks. I've not spent that much time playing with the Razorbacks.
Okay. I was, when I was going through the roster first time I got it, and I saw, I was like, Jaylen Brown. I was like, I started putting it all together, and then so they ended up screwing it up. I mean, you can't get it all perfect. I mean, let's be honest. Can't even get the hair right.
Hey, thank God you can edit players this year.
Yeah.
Not that people weren't as mad about that as I was last year, but I could not believe you could not edit anything last year. Couldn't create a player, couldn't edit a player, nothing. I was like, geez,
yeah,
I should have to live with y'all's rankings.
Yeah, and who wants to do that? Who wants to deal with any of that too? So, but I know that the Ishmael stuff is big, and I know with SEC Media Days next week, I'm sure Sam Pittman's going to be asked about it, and we may bring this up on Monday, talking about it for sure, but. What do you think? You guys know Media Days, at least, that everybody has questions for certain coaches that they'll ask all the time, repetitively. Every room they go into, they'll ask him. Like, is there one for Sam Pittman? Is there one question you think the national media or anybody else is going to want to hear from Sam, or at least maybe not a specific question, but a general thing they want to hear from Sam Pittman about this year?
Well, that's a good question. Like about Sam specifically, I'm not I'm not really sure. He might get asked about his job security by somebody, which would be interesting to see how he handled that. But I do think, how they've got the guys. You were probably alluding to this, but that they'll just ask every coach the same thing, so we know he's going to get his soapbox opportunity for the rev share stuff and what that's looking like. He'll get asked about the GM thing. There's always a lot of things that we've already been able to ask him about, and we already know how he feels about it, that he gets the platform to speak on. But as far as him specifically, man, what's it like being an offensive line coach? It's a head coach now. He's going to get that again, I'm sure.
Hip surgery?
Ooh, hip surgery. Yeah.
Maybe hip surgery, a little something like that. Maybe the Fernando Carmona transgression.
Yeah.
Maybe. About that.
Yeah. Somebody's going to ask. He'll probably be like, Dan Wolken or something like that, just to, and talk to him all the time, but he'll go in
Sam,
there.
Are you gonna suspend Fernando Carmona for the first 6 quarters?
Are you going to line him up in front of the firing squad this upcoming fall camp and just have him assassinated? Are you going to do something like that? Wouldn't surprise me at all. But no, I think that's the case. And is it weird? Maybe it is, that I am going to be fascinated about how Pittman is moving, because we really haven't seen him at all out and about or doing anything since spring. And we know spring was a little bit of a struggle for him. Not to say that it was not improving, but hasn't improved since spring. Is he now no longer needing a cane or needing any help? Is he walking as well as he could? Because if he's not, man, it's gonna be one of those things like, geez, is this guy gonna have to go through fall camp and try to run through the A with that hip problem? So yeah, I think the hip was definitely something that gets brought up. I think every coach, though, with the craziness of NIL and the clearinghouses and the rev share and all these things, and now you got which I know we'd probably dive into. I think you retweeted it too, Curtis, about the SCORE Act, about the transferring 1 year and or one time for free, and then after that, is it going to be any different? That's going to be fascinating to see all coaches, not just Pittman, but all coaches, guys, of this legal stuff and how much they know in depth about it. I guarantee you there's going to be some coaches that have look like lawyers out there, be like, yeah, we know it. These are the things, And there's going to be other coaches that are probably like, yeah, we just going to have to do whatever they tell us to, I guess, So there'll be a lot of that, but that's why I kind of am not looking forward to is just a bunch of the mumbo jumbo over there instead of talking about quarterbacks and all that. It's gonna be like, hey, what do you think about the legal system and the politics and Ted Cruz getting involved? Like, what do you think about all that?
I'm anxious to see who the first coach is that's going to tee off on that the NIL Go thing and the College Sports Commission, since we're seeing all these stories now come out about dozens and dozens of these NIL deals that are just sitting in the hopper and haven't been reviewed yet, or they've been denied for whatever reason. And it's so funny to watch them try to put the toothpaste back in the tube here. And they're already struggling with that. And now we're getting the SCORE Act thing. It's like, oh yeah. Not only are we going to we're going to cap your ability to earn, and we're going to start putting regulations on it after there wasn't any. We're also going to take away your ability to transfer and go wherever you want after we gave you that just a couple of years ago. It's just, they're just pissing everybody off. The amount of lawsuits here is going to be ridiculous. It's going to cause a snag and everything. All those, what they call them, the injunctions, or like the temporary restraining, or like all that stuff is going to be at play here, and they're not going to get a daggum thing done.
Now I'm thinking about like the questions Sam Pittman's going to get asked and what he's going to say. I do actually look forward to hearing his stances on a lot of these public issues, because like you said, like there's going to be people that ask every single head coach about that, and I wonder if he's going to use this, if he's going to like flex and be like, well, we didn't have any deals that got denied, so I mean, we're all good. We're all good. See, we've been doing things like, or is he going to be like, yeah, clearly, like we should never have done this revenue sharing thing. Clearly, we should never have done all this NIL. Like, what's his updated public stance going to be? Because we hear kind of different things every time we hear from Sam Pittman. It seems like he changes like kind of where he stands on some of these issues. I do actually like genuinely look forward to hearing what his like updated thoughts are, but I wonder what that's going to mean. Like, what overreactions are we going to have as to what that means for Arkansas's program based on what he says about some of these issues?
Yeah, I'm going to be fascinated by it as well. And by the way, I know this is probably something else anybody noticed, but I just noticed and just want to make sure that everyone knows it's not Curtis or Andrew. This was me for some reason. Why it says May 22nd of 2025 is the date here on the show in our overlay. I have no
Oh,
idea
shoot.
why. It's like I just saw that and I was like, okay, I got to make sure that if anybody did see it, they're going to be like, oh, geez, Curtis and Andrew have no idea what the crap they're doing. It's like this was a me thing. Apparently, I have no idea how that happened.
Is this the right thing though? Like,
No.
is this today's? Okay.
None of it's right. Like,
Okay. It was just the one that was in there for,
Right.
for Inside Arkansas.
I
was
see
like, all right.
recapping On 3 article on Arkansas football, which I remember us doing that.
Yeah, the whole time I was like, did I miss an article that came out? Like,
I'm gonna be honest with you. This kind of speaks to how little I pay attention. I didn't notice that until just now. I also, now to be fair, on the date thing, everyone can see it, like that's watching the show, but from where I'm sitting on StreamYard, you can't see it. It's covered up by this little thing that shows that we're live and has the time and all that. So I at least am off the hook on that.
No, it just made me laugh because people don't care about this part, but it's like I just change it every day. So it's not like, oh, back in the deep files and archives, I have the May 22nd overlay. It's just, I don't even know. But either way, I'm glad that no one probably even cared or even thought but me. So that's okay. That's okay.
Well, when I got on here, the BetSaracen thing was up. And so I was like, oh, I'll just like whatever our daily Inside Arkansas Live thing is, I'll click it. So I just saw it down there and it said Inside Arkansas Live football topic. I was like, oh, that must be it. No.
But hey, you know what? It's not about those little cool things about it. It's about the topics, and the topics were the ones that mattered, and that's what we were discussing. So
there we go.
But either way, I did want to bring this up as far as that. Hopefully, this is the right alumni hall question of the day. It is. But before we get to the chat and everything, I was just curious for you guys' perspective. You know, we talk about things that may be good, better, whatever. But what's the one thing you think Arkansas will actually be for sure, if you could put a guarantee on it, better this season than a year ago? It doesn't have to be a group. It doesn't have to be a position. It could be, penalties. It could be time of possession. But like, just what's one thing you feel really confident that Arkansas is actually going to be better at this year in football than last year?
Yikes. Yeah, so, I like big KG passing defense. They were like the worst in the country. It has to be better, right? And I do like some of the additions that they made there. Now, like we don't know about Jordan Young, for example, the DB from Cincinnati, because he was injured. But this is a dude that's started there and was really productive there. Kenai Walker, I don't know, did he get benched at Oklahoma? Maybe. But they went and added some guys. I like Scandrett. Caleb Wooten's a guy that's played a lot of football. I have a feeling that the secondary could still be bad, but the pass defense could still be better because it was really rough last season. That's where I'm going to go. I will guarantee that they will be better than they were last season. Pass defense.
So pass defense was kind of it was the first thing that came to my mind, but the reason I'm not going with that is because, because Curtis just took it, but because I think their defensive line is going to be even worse than it was last year. And so I think there actually is going to be a possibility that like Arkansas is the worst pass rush in the SEC. In which case, a lot of these veteran quarterbacks, like a Marcel Reed, like a Garrett Nussmeier, and all that, are going to absolutely dice. Because even if Arkansas had a good secondary, and I do think it's going to be a better secondary from a bad one to a probably about an average one. Even if Arkansas had a good secondary, if you don't have a pass rush, you're going to be in trouble. And so I think their pass defense will be improved just because, like you said, it kind of has to be. But I think ball control offense is going to be one. And now I'm not saying, their running backs, I'm not super high on. I've been pretty low on them all offseason. I think Jaquan Jackson would have been far and away the number one back on this team, if he were on this roster, without a doubt. And so losing him is a blow. But I do think that Arkansas is going to use Taylor Green more in the run game because they kind of have to. And I think play calling wise, I think Bobby Petrino kind of knows we need to do a little bit better at controlling tempo and controlling the ball and controlling the clock and not having our defense play 80 plays. And so I think Arkansas might even have like a lower ceiling as an offense, but given the question marks at receiver and given that Taylor Green, they're going to be very dependent on him, I think Arkansas's time of possession, like you said, John, is going to be a little bit better. And I think they're just going to be able to control the ball, like control the clock and shorten the game a little bit. Like, I don't think they're going to find themselves in shootouts because I think they're going to squeeze the hell out of that clock and really try and take control of the ball, play keep away.
I'm kind of choosing the low-hanging fruit here, I feel like, but red zone offense, because they were ranked 60th in the country last year. Yeah. And it's not to say that's the worst, because it's not. It's like halfway point, but still, it was something that was very frustrating last year where Arkansas was only able to convert 85% of their scores when they got into the red zone. They had 54 attempts, which is a good amount, all things considered. but only 31 of those converted into, or I guess total, 38 of those converted into touchdowns, 8 of those into field goals, but 46 times you scored. So you're talking about last year, you had 8 times in the red zone where you left with no points. And that could be problematic and would be problematic because you're not going to be good enough to blow teams out and have a cushion in offense. Like when you get into the red zone, you gotta get points, even if it's a field goal. You want a touchdown, but it's got to happen in some capacity. So,
and they were -8 in turnover margin last year. That's crazy.
That's
coughed it up 23 times.
6.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that Auburn game. That's right. Good grief.
Yeah.
I hope that gets better.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. There's a lot of things they can improve on. So, but do want to bring this up as well because we'll talk about some basketball. We'll get to your chats as well, but want to remind everybody that here on the show, we are brought to you by our friends over at Hickey and Hull Law, which we know divorce and custody cases are far too important to try and face alone. So let Hickey and Hull Law provide you with that persistent and diligent representation to guide you through the entire process. They know that every case that they take is important, and they strive to give one the utmost time that it deserves, and they understand how crucial it is to their clients as well. So give them a call today at 479-434-2414, or you can check out their website at hickeyandhull.com or scan that QR code at the top right corner of the screen. It's Hickey and Hull Law. Things are about to get better. I did see this, and I guess I was tagged in, you were tagged in, Curse, and it was retweeted. I just find it so funny. Joe Tipton just tweeted that Arkansas's John Calipari and USC's Eric Musselman. That's how he starts the tweet. And already I'm laughing because I'm just trying to think of is there a conversation there? I'm not going to read all the coaches. It's a lot of coaches, but looks like there's a pretty high level recruit that they are over there watching at the Nike EYBL. And, just seeing that group with, I guess, Bill Self, Mick Cronin, Izzo, Will Wade, as well as the GM Andrew Slater of NC State, and Jeff Capel, Kevin Willard, and I guess some others. But either way, those are the types of things. I just wish there was conversations and what those would be like among all those coaches. Like, I just always think about how awesome that would be.
It'd be very interesting. It was kind of funny. We used to go to SEC basketball media day every year, and we'd get to sit and have lunch with Muss, and he'd speak to us, candidly and everything. And it was, I think, pretty obvious. John, you probably agree with this, that Cal was kind of his guy in the SEC. Was like the only one where, we'd literally ask him, like, who do you have friends, amongst the coaches here? And he was always kind of like, Cal. So he was high on Cal. It's like, I wonder what those conversations could be like today, where it's like, hey, buddy, I came here and asked for the schedule. There was no schedule. What the hell, man? Because he likes to say that. That's a reflection on Muss. But no, there are a lot of coaches going to be out there on the EYBL this week and next week at Peach Jam. I think Brandon McCoy is playing now, and he's the number 3 prospect overall in the 2026 class. Really, really good. Everyone in the country is on that dude, and I'd imagine that's who they're front and center for.
The funniest part about this is and I agree on Muss and Cal. I actually think their conversations would be cool to listen to because I don't think there's a ton of animosity. In fact, I know there's not. So it's it would be probably pretty cordial, and we would love to just be a fly on the wall in those conversations, and it'd be pretty lighthearted and fun and wholesome. But the funniest part about this is the big misconception is you see these coaches there together, and you're like, oh, so they have to all be friends. There's coaches that openly hate each other, that are forced to stand next to each other because there's a specific area these coaches are standing and watching the game at or whatever. I remember a couple of years ago, Nate Oates and Eric Musselman got photographed together, and they're like, oh, Nate Oates and Eric Musselman are talking. Have they buried the hatchet? I'm like, no, they haven't buried the hatchet. But sometimes you're forced to interact with people you hate. I think of Christmas Vacation when he's he's coming out of the meeting, he's like, hey, Merry Christmas, kiss my ass, Merry Christmas, kiss his ass, all that. I just would love to see those conversations. Honestly, Eric Musselman and John Calipari, again, I think those are probably pretty chill and, buddy-like. I want to see some of those, of the dudes that really don't like each other. I want to be a fly on the wall because they kind of have to shake hands and smile and wave and, mumble under their breath.
The only SEC coach I have ever seen that has not been with someone at all times at SEC Media Day, was ever alone for any period of time, is Porter Mosier.
Yeah, poor guy had to eat by himself. His teammates wouldn't even eat with him.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that was a rough look. I just always, this picture, for instance, I always just laugh about and thinking about come on, look at this. There's just some guys being dudes, liking each other. Very staunch comparison there, but man.
They're there, son.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
going to be all right. Actually, try to find the other picture of them just like cackling, laughing at each other in the most, you could tell, forced fake laugh of all time. And so it's like, what could they possibly be? And like, I hope you die tonight type of thing. But actually, they actually have respect for one another. And they need to get that Arkansas USC exhibition or any sort of game going at any point. That would be electric and so much
It would
fun.
be awesome. It'd be really cool.
Yeah, they can only do that. All right, so let's go ahead and do a little vibe checking of the chat presented by our friends over at Basis Health. We know they're changing the way that healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. A doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and so much more. It's Basis Health. They're here for you when and where you need them the most. You can learn more at basishealth.org today. All right, so to get to some of your chats, folks, appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out. We also got like Showtime Productions, who's been on once again in the chat. He says, will we actually be able to make kicks? Sure, maybe, possibly, hopefully.
Freshman, bro. I mean, he's good, but you never know. Like it's one thing to make a bunch of them in practice or whatever. It's another to be 18 years old and have a potential game winner as time expires against Notre Dame and being having the ice water in the veins or something. So jury's out.
Yeah, I don't remember there being good reports coming out of the spring about the kicking situation. I also don't remember there being good reports coming out of the spring about last year's kicking situation, and that wound up being a little bit prophetic. At least last year, once they finally landed on the kicker that was the actually good one, they actually weren't horrible in the kicking department down the stretch once they went to Shipley. But who knows? I mean, maybe this freshman's not going to be ready. Maybe they'll start someone who's worse than him for no reason and no one can explain it. I would imagine they're probably going to be about average in the kicking department.
Yeah, that's what I would say. And I feel like with freshman kickers especially, this might be kind of a dust statement, but man, sometimes they're like Zach Hawker out there as a freshman where you're like, okay, this guy's, he's got it. This guy's great. Or they could be like an Alex Tejada or a Cole Headland where they had all the pomp and circumstance coming in and ends up, nope, they're not it. And you know pretty quickly if they're going to be it. But hey, if my game and my simulation that I had or was playing the other night against Notre Dame, Scott Starzik is the dude because I barely kicked that thing and he made a 52-yarder. So just saying, if that's any indication, which we know that video game is real, it might be okay. But yeah, that's the thing is like we could say this about every position because sometimes you have a lot of hype about somebody coming in, but kicking is literally the one where I have no clue. I don't even look at what they do in practice because I do not care what they do in practice. I don't care about, hey, they made all these field goals. I don't care because we've heard that stuff before and it never really translates that way too. Tamara wants to know, what coach do you think Cal dislikes the most? Ooh,
It's not Dennis Gates.
No.
It's no longer Rick Pitino.
Yeah, him and Rick Barnes are old buddies. It's probably still Pitino.
See, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, just maybe a little bit less since he just got him, got one up on him.
Well, honestly, coaches these days don't take as many shots at Cal. Like back in the day when Cal was at Kentucky and when he was at Memphis and obviously when he was at UMass, coaches would have no problems taking shots at him. Now the people that take shots at Cal are media members. I don't really see too many coaches throwing shade. Like, I mean, Mark Pope is worshiping the ground he walks on, and for a good reason. But like, I don't think there's many coaches who have been like in Cal's face in recent years.
Yeah.
I think that there's also, just because of the changing of college basketball and, for what Cal was doing at the time, people, as you said, Andrew, took shots that were coaches because they're like, this guy is doing it against the way I do it. He's doing these one and done things, and that's not what I believe in. So, and then once he started doing it, you saw Coach K, start doing it, and everyone started doing it. And then suddenly it didn't become as big of an issue. And, because there was a while, I think it was all about the recruiting angles because, as you guys know, for whatever many years or stretch, Cal, if you saw the top 5 kids in college basketball coming out of high school, it's like Cal was going to get at least 2 of them every single time. And that had to burn up all these other coaches that, like the Coach K's, the Roy Williamses, all those ones that are used to getting those players and then developing them for a few years. Cal's just like, nah, I'm taking them all. Give me here. And then there you go. That's all it was. So I think that was a big part of it too. Cal's also he's very political. I feel like there's a difference between ones he hates and ones he wants to beat the most. I think the ones he wants to beat the most is Mark Pope as much as possible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would agree with that 100%. I don't think he has like a disdain for Mark Pope, the human being. But yeah, he definitely wants to beat that guy every time. Mark Pope's just he's a victim of circumstance in all this.
Yeah, he just happens to be the guy that took over after him, and people are still gonna like me, I'm still gonna make fun of Mark Pope just because of that fact. But that's just me. Let's see. Also, Jose wants to know, what if Sealy starts over Acuff for the first handful of games just because Sealy is further along?
It's not a thing that will happen.
Yeah, we won't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
They don't play the same position either, but yeah, it's we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. Also, too, we got Michael Kopesky still wanting Andrew. What's the holdup on Joey V? Starting to worry.
So I listen. I don't. I've defended Kopesky a lot because he's a rowdy gentleman, and I've defended him over the years. I'm done defending Michael Kopesky. I just want the records to show he has been openly miserable and complaining every day about the baseball portal and being like, why are we not getting this guy? Tennessee's getting this guy. Why can't we get this guy? While Arkansas has been just quietly putting together a damn good portal class, there's a very good chance Arkansas ends up as the preseason #1 team in the country. That doesn't mean they're going to win the title. That doesn't mean, everything's fixed. But it's like, in terms of like preseason, it's harder to have a better team in July than Arkansas has right now. And by the way, Michael, the dude literally is going to commit like today, like literally the day of his commitment. And listen, it is my job to talk about these things. And so me personally, it would be nice for me if these guys would be more forthcoming with their announcements and be, faster on it. And hell, the center fielder, Micah New, Arkansas guy, who might be my favorite transfer, didn't even announce his commitment. His play-by-play guy in the Cape had to announce, hey, yeah, this guy's actually committed to Arkansas. People don't know that because baseball players don't announce their commitments. They don't make this big, oh, I'm announcing on the 15th. Everyone come and join me. Like, they don't really do that stuff. And, that's up to them. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not a thing to be upset about. Like, it's like if there was somebody who would be upset, it would be me, who relies on this kind of shit for content. And even I'm not stupid enough to be like, why won't this guy I don't understand. Why don't you make a big charade out of it? There's no, like, it's things are very, very much trending in a great direction. It's my understanding that the dude's like a hog. Like, he's literally like a Razorback. There's, eventually he'll put out a tweet and we'll all celebrate it, but it's all good. And he's the #1 pitcher in the class. And you've been bitching the entire time while they've been putting together an awesome class. Every day you've been in here bitching about it. And every day I've been telling you, they've got a great class coming together. They've got a great roster together. I don't understand what it's going to take for you to just shut up. And by the way, I also wanted to bring this up just because I'm, I'm yelling at him. He also follows up later and says the Hogs have plenty of depth at receiver. Andy Jean from Florida State, who I think he's actually from Florida. I don't understand how there's this many fans who will no matter what DVH does, they're going to be mad at him. But then football, it's like, no, Sam Pittman's fine though. I mean, they got depth at wide receiver. This former 3-star who didn't play at Florida and didn't play at Pittsburgh, he's going to be the guy. But Joey Volchko, God forbid.
Well, what you're saying is, Ellis, is that you're just not going to make anyone happy, and it doesn't matter. I mean, that's just like I've always laughed about when it comes to portal and recruiting. Everyone's just wanting to know who's next, and then finally something happens. Like, all right, well, they got this guy, great. Who's next? It's like,
right. I guarantee you, as soon as Volchko's commitment announces, there's going to be someone complaining like, well, so like third base, we're just going to roll with TJ Pompey. That's what we're doing. Helfrich's going to be our only catcher. What's going on?
Jeez, man. Also, I like this from outside state line. It says, I know Bob will be missed at SEC Media Days next week. All the coaches were always prepared for Bob's opening question. Yeah, that's going to be a thing that definitely is going to be missed. And, I'm curious because it was notorious that Bob got the first question of the entire event. Like, that's just what it was. Most of the time, I felt like it was Gus Malzahn at Auburn went first. I don't know why, but Bob always got the first question. I'm sure they'll have some sort of tribute of some sort there. But I'm also curious because, with the situation with Kevin Trainer, if, I don't know, I'm assuming he'll be doing the emceeing, but I don't know. So, there's going to be a lot of weird, different things there, and missing Bob is definitely going to be that. But yeah,
that might be something Sam Pittman gets asked about, by the way, right? Like, honestly, realistically, I feel like somebody should probably be like, hey, first one of these without Bob. You and Bob are good friends. What's up?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the first thing that he's going to be asked is if he's willing to publicly acknowledge baseball's run in the College World Series.
He's definitely not going to do that. And if you ask him to do it, people are going to be mad at you. So,
yeah. If you just ask him about what was that run to Omaha like? Wasn't that something? It's gonna be something like that. I can't do the impersonation as good as Andrew, but it'll be something to that extent. So also too, like this from Vic KG, he's like, sports are like being stuck on an airplane with 300 people. Someone is hot, someone is cold. Can't make everyone happy. It's a good point. Yeah. Very good point. I don't think that's sports. I just think it's life in general. At the stage.
But sports for sure. We definitely none of us are happy with sports for sure. We all have a bad relationship with it.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's not going to be that way at all. Let's see. Also, too, I'm going to bring something else of that up, but no, again, we can go ahead and keep it moving because here's the deal: is that we had some highlights and some lowlights given this week. But let's go ahead and get into our best and worst of the week, presented by our friends over at Looper Auction and Realty. Why wait months or even years to sell your home the traditional way? At Looper Auction Realty, they offer a faster and smarter option. Sell your home at auction. No repairs, no contingencies, no drawn-out negotiations. You set the terms, buyers compete, and you walk away with a firm closing date. Whether it's your home, an estate, an investment property, the auction method puts you in control and gets it sold fast. You can call Looper Auction and Realty at 479-996-4848, or you can visit looperauction.com. Scanning that QR code also gets you there as well. It's Looper Auction and Realty, sold in 30, closed in 30. All right, so for best and worst of the week, my best... I'm going to have multiple ones, and hopefully I'm not taking yours, Curtis, but still it's hard to beat that whole basketball day that we had and that everyone got to experience. That was a great thing. Just the camaraderie, just the being able to watch practices, hearing from Cal, hearing him speak 40 minutes. By the way, guys, I went back and I looked at way too many late last night when I couldn't sleep of how many press conferences John Calipari did by himself at Kentucky. And the longest one I could find was 31 minutes. So just saying.
Listen, Arkansas media is going to win that race no matter what coach you do, no matter what time period. Arkansas media will milk a press conference.
Yeah. So, but either way, I think that was awesome. But then to kind of say it on a different level too, of just the amount of things that have kind of been going on and keeping it fun with summer topics. And this time of year, I know everyone talking about dog days of summer and all of that. But, the best of the week to me was just the people that continue to hang out with us and tune in with us and tune in here in Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, and the Bombastic Podcast, because, that's one of those things that we all know. You all know, hey, if there's no Razorback sports going on, then, we get creative and we have some fun with it. And we appreciate people getting involved and still tuning in and still hanging out with us. And, we're still going to do content. We're not, no times off, no off days here, but I've been really appreciative of everyone still tapping in, hanging out with us, and doing it with us, even though there's no games to recap or to get pissed off from and to start yelling about why is this not happening. But hey, we still have fun. We still talk hog sports, and football season will be here in fall camp before we know it. So I also appreciate that as well.
Yeah, no, I would echo that sentiment. It's a challenge, to find things that continue to be entertaining and compelling and all that, for this show. But it's a little bit easier because we can, kind of riff and feed off of each other, and we got the chat and everything. It's not easy to do a daily basketball podcast in July, every morning at 6 a.m. or whatever. So, but having the amount of people that still tune into that and chime in the comments and stuff every day, like it makes it well worthwhile. And so definitely shout out to Cal for that, because talking about on the show this morning, it's like every day for like the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be able to talk about something that Cal said or something that we saw during this event. And we can still fill in with new happenings and recruiting and everything like that, but it's a content gold mine. And so I'm appreciative of that. So I've got two best, and I won't do the John Calipari. Here's what I'll do. I think Nick Pringle deserves a best of the week for two reasons. One, was just really impressed with him, man. I talked about it a little bit yesterday, but he's just one of those dudes that he's big, he's strong, he's mean. He has a reputation kind of as an enforcer, real physical guy in the paint. And in a lot of ways, he kind of reminded me of Kamani Johnson. Like, you get him in front of the microphone, you're like, oh, wow, like, this dude's awesome. He's engaging. He's funny. He's got a sense of humor. He's good for the locker room. I was just really, really impressed with him and everything he had to say. And he looked good out there on the floor too. But I feel like I need to give him a little bit of extra love because it's so funny. hearing him say all the things he said about, hey, why I'm at Arkansas and they're making me uncomfortable and they said they were going to do it and I needed that and I'm getting better and love the coaches and everything. And then like 10 minutes later, you got John Calipari, who's on his soapbox and he's ranting and he's like, hey, this is crazy. Guys transferring to, 4 different times. You shouldn't be able to do this. You're not going to get a degree. This is nonsense. It should be 1 time. And then you got to set a year. Like, I can't believe this. It's like his whole stump. Nick Pringle's 4th school is Arkansas. Like, is the direct example of what he was ranting about. And this is the guy who's going to come in here and play 20 minutes a game at center for him. So I understand what he's saying and I understand the circumstances and everything. I just thought that was really, really funny in the moment. But it wasn't shade that was directed at Nick Pringle. It was shade directed at a system that's a little bit broken. But hell, why not take advantage of it, right?
I'm glad you said this, Curtis, because like Nick Pringle was probably the guy that, because again, we're not overreacting to 1 day of practice or whatever, but I think he's the guy that I'm looking at through a little bit of a different lens. And again, you have to understand what he is. If you're expecting him to be this 18-10 dynamic post game, stretch the floor, do all this crazy offensive versatility, he's not that guy. But defensively, might be the most important defender on the entire roster because of that ability to, 1, protect the rim, be physical, match up with some other big bodies in the SEC, which there are a lot of, and also is not a liability when he gets switched onto someone. I think that's important. But really, I think my favorite thing in basketball, really, regardless of your skill set, I always love a basketball player who knows exactly who he is. Like, we always talk about how many different skill sets these guys have. And, can he dribble? Can he shoot? Can he do all this? Give me the guy who knows exactly what he can do and can do it. I think Nick Pringle's that guy. And I think when I watched this team playing some 5-on-5, and again, it's really not a ton of it, he's just always where he's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Offensively and defensively, I think he's going to get a lot of easy buckets for being where he's supposed to be offensively. I think he's going to do a lot of good things being where he's supposed to be defensively. He looked bigger than I thought he was going to look. And I'm with you, where like the press conference just won me over. If I wasn't won over already with his skill set and just what he brings to the table as a leader and as a guy with a ton of experience, like when you bring in a guy with a ton of experience, you kind of need him to be that kind of presence for you that, can be a guy that guys can look at and say, hey, we need to be like that. He can lead by example, can also be that personality. Seems like he's going to do that. Guys, I got to be honest. I searched far and wide on the internet. It's really tough for me to find anything that really was awesome this week. But I will say I do have my real one is the MLB draft is this weekend. And I just want us to take a step back and commemorate and celebrate how cool this MLB draft is. 1, Arkansas has never had 2 players drafted in the first round of the same year. That's almost certainly going to happen, and they might have 3. They very well could have 3. That's special. Like, this is going to be one of the most special drafts ever, and we're really not even talking about it because we all expect it to happen. And it's really, of course, we would have rather than won a national title, but we're not even really talking about it because it's just kind of ho-hum what we expect out of the program. That's unbelievable. I mean, last year, Hagen Smith was the number 5 overall pick, which became the highest drafted pitcher ever. They had never had a pitcher drafted in the top 20 before, or higher than 20. Gage Wood has a good chance to do that. Gage Wood literally might be the best pitching prospect we've ever seen at the University of Arkansas, but we don't really talk about him that way because this program has reached a point where it's just, of course they have good players. Of course they have a Golden Spikes winner who's going to go in the first round. Of course they're going to have 2 first-round picks. Of course they're going to have 3 pitchers in the top whatever. I think that's awesome. I also think back to how many years could y'all remember, John? I know you, of course, have been in the mix of this, like those high school signees that everyone's like stressed about, like, oh crap, what if he signs? Oh man, he signed. Oh man. And it like felt like such a big deal when Peyton Stovall decided not to sign. Arkansas has a shortstop from Fayetteville, Landon Schaefer, who's like 1,000% going to sign, and he's encouraged to do so by the staff because they have 9 other contingency plans. Mm-hmm. Like, they've already planned for this with so many different options. Same with center field. You've got 2 guys that are legit prospects. They've got options, and I just think it's really cool. And I think this draft is going to be a very notable one in terms of just players from the program that get selected. There's obviously a lot to watch with transfers that might get selected, high school kids that get selected. Like, I think when you add it all together, this is the biggest and most important MLB draft in program history. And I think that's awesome. I think it's just cool that we have a program that, like, we just take it for granted that we watch literally some of the best players on the planet play at Arkansas, and they just come through our program, and we just don't even really bat an eye. We're just like, oh yeah, I get to watch that group pitch. Number 33 overall pick or whatever. Like, it's pretty cool, and so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also looking forward to tonight, 7 p.m. I'll be at the AMC. 3D. I got my glasses for Superman. I'm ready to roll.
Well, I've heard good things about Superman, and I know you've been tooting that. So hopefully it lives up to the expectation you have, instead of just being like, "Hey, this was terrible." However, to your point though about the baseball side of things too, say, "Hey, these players, they will be Razorbacks unless they get the exact amount that they want, and not a penny less. Because if they get a penny less, then they'll be a Razorback. If they were getting $2 million offered to them to go to the MLB." They know that if it was 1.1999.999, whatever it is, they're going to be Razorbacks. That's just the rule that you got to go to. So, but worst of the week for me, we could use some sports stuff, but I'm going to use something that happened to me yesterday, guys. I wanted to post this person, but it's just sometimes I got to remember that, when you post somebody's personal or at least their handle and stuff, there'll be some blowback from that. But either way, you guys know, I was talking about yesterday on the show about my dog Rowdy and how I may have to bring him to SEC football media days. I posted a tweet about it, and I even put on my Instagram story, just kind of have some fun with it. I was like, "Hey, I may have to take him, which I'm not going to be taking him, by the way. I got it taken care of. Point is, I had somebody, not someone I knew, but somebody on my Instagram story send me novellas of how I am a horrible dog owner and how I am just the worst type of person if I'm having to find somebody and whore myself out to try to find somebody to take care of my dog when it should be my responsibility. And I should be the one that I revolve my entire life around. And if I can't find somebody, then I need to not go to SEC meet. Just insanity stuff. And, I've mentioned this when it comes to dogs, when it comes to food, and when it comes to gym. I feel like there is nothing worse than anybody that thinks that they are going to know better than you on what you do when it comes to those three things in your life, to where no matter what you say, "Hey, what kind of protein bar are you eating?" "Oh, I'm eating this." "Oh, you might as well be eating a candy bar." "Thank you." Or, "Hey, what kind of dog food you giving your dog?" "Oh, I give him this thing." "Oh, geez, you might as well just be giving them poison." "Okay, thank you." Just there's nobody worse than that. And my whole thing is I get, like, if we have opinions on sports and all that, that's fine. You disagree with it, that's fine. You hate the sound of my voice, that's fine. But when it comes to something like that, just shut up and stay in your lane and let me take care of my dog. My dog is extremely happy. He's well fed, as you can tell by the rolls in his neck. And he is also going to be just fine no matter what. He's going to be well taken care of. But, those one of the things that's like, man, I like to be open and personal and transparent with stuff going on in my life because I enjoy that. But those types of things really piss me off when people do that stuff. So that was the worst of the week for me, is just somebody putting that much effort and putting novellas about how I'm awful with my dog Rowdy when they have no idea about me or Rowdy or what's going on. So that was the worst of the week.
That would piss me off too. So I don't blame you for taking an exception to that. And it's funny that you mentioned the protein bar thing, because I ran across an Instagram reel last night that was really funny, that had to do with selecting protein bars over other forms of protein. And Michelle heard it and she was laughing. I told her the story about you getting shamed and as we were leaving Omaha or whatever. But it's just crazy, man, how people will step right into someone else's world and think that they know better, like that their opinion matters on certain things like that. It's crazy. So I'm with you on that one. Worst of the week for me, and I can parlay this back because there was one other best that I wanted to mention. Just the lack of Arkansas presence in summer league. And I remember past years where there'd be like, at any given time you could turn it on and there'd be guys in there. Now, the good thing about it is most of them are solidified in the league at this point. Like, they don't have to play in summer league anymore. You don't have to see Jalen Williams there anymore. You don't have to see Anthony Black, guys like that. But it stinks that Adu Thiero is not able to participate. How cool would it have been to see him, lock up Cooper Flagg last night? Instead, Bronny James had to do it. So, whatever, but would have loved to see him play. And I tuned in with excitement last night because I wanted to see Mason Jones versus Nelly Davis. And Nelly when you're a coach's DNP in summer league, that's tough. He might wind up in Europe or something. He'll make some money playing basketball. He'll be all right. But I was looking forward to seeing him play, man, and didn't get to. So it was a little bit on that standpoint. But no matter the uniform, no matter the year, no matter the situation, it's always just so nice to watch Mason Jones play basketball. He's just so much fun. And I get like his limitations when it comes to sticking in the NBA and like having a huge role and everything like that. But that dude is just an absolute bucket. He's a big personality. He's so much fun. We had him for 2 years and it wasn't enough. And I'd love me some Mason Jones, man. So he's going to be the guy that I'm tapped into the most as we move forward in the rest of the summer league here. Wish that there was more representation. I think Jordan Walsh plays today, which is cool. But outside of that, it's like, man, not a whole lot going on there.
Dude, did you see somebody tweet? Somebody was making fun of Mason Jones on Twitter, and they were like, "It's crazy that Mason Jones is like still at summer league, like he's just taking up a spot, getting in, you know." And he was like, "But honestly, he's like, if you can't beat out Mason Jones, then like go to Europe or whatever." And Mason
Jones, a lot of
is
people
like,
going to Europe.
Yeah, buddy, it's like, buddy, talk about me with some respect. Like SEC Player of the Year, played in the NBA legitimately, like been around for a while, been given everybody in the G League buckets for a while, one of the best players on the planet without a doubt at all. Mason Jones is why there needs to be an expansion team or two in the NBA, because there's too many guys who are talented enough to score at a NBA level, but there's just, you know, teams in the NBA don't need more scorers, you know? And so I feel like there needs to be more teams because there's enough guys that can score. And I mean, hell, it would have been awesome if back in the day we could have watched Jimmer Fredette play basketball in the NBA,
right?
But we had to watch him, you know, he had to go score 40 in China. But Mason Jones definitely took exception to where he's like, brother, I'm almost to the point where I'm above the summer league. It's not that the summer league is above me. I'm above the summer league. And so I thought that was cool that he was like, nah, let me stand on business and just go out there and hoop. And that's what he's always going to do. Love that for sure.
Yeah. Also to that point, make sure LSU understand he was co-SEC Player of the Year. Okay.
With Emmanuel Quickly.
Yes. Don't.
Good Lord.
That was still one. My buddy Devin, he had it pinned. He doesn't have many followers, but he had like 5,000 likes because I retweeted it, where he compared the entire stat line of Quickly and Jones had him beat in every single thing except for one play to Kentucky and had more wins, but individually, everything was there. So, hey, about this? Hey, shout out to Whitty. Appreciate the super chat, Whitty. Thanks so much, man.
Heck yeah, man.
He says, speaking of dogs, family-friendly event in Lowell for all the Northwest Arkansas friends tomorrow. Saturday, starting at 11 a.m., called Wags and Bags. All the proceeds go to the Humane Society of Animals. We're one of the many awesome sponsors. Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, people have to get out there and check that out for sure.
Yeah, like I said, I would. Those are the things I wish I could take Rowdy to, but he doesn't do well.
Skittish.
Again, he's socially awkward, man. He just does not do well with other dogs. So
I've heard it said though that like those dog parks and stuff, like some of them are like not good for dogs. Like it's certain dogs are not meant to be in, you know, coming across random other dogs in that kind of context. So I think it's not just a Rowdy issue. I think there's a lot of dogs who don't respond well to that.
Yeah. Well, and it's probably terrible because people are going to get mad, but I'm like, it kind of reminds me of just if you're like a public playground. Yeah. Not every kid is made for a public playground, you know? Like some kids can know how to play on the playground and on the big toy. Other ones are trying to do dolphin dives off the high slides, and, you know, it's just like, you know what? Not everybody is made for those big toys.
Someone on this panel broke the piss out of his elbow playing on a public playground. So like, let's relax a little bit. Okay.
Did you at least have a cool story for? Like, were you doing something cool?
Yeah, I was trying to do monkey bars with one arm.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna like try and catch it, and I was 4 years old, and then landed straight with it like this. Well, hold on, I don't know if you can see it. That's my elbow. Look at it,
man.
That's some crazy stuff.
Is that why? You impact your jump shot like Ronnie Brewer? You know, when you're growing up, like
it didn't impact my jump shot really, but Ronnie Brewer, that was a big part of him being my favorite player, because when you're sitting there with a broken arm and you see someone who also broke his arm, you're like, hey, that's cool.
Huh? That'll work. Did you give a best, Andrew, or worst, Andrew? You know.
No, I did not. Was there not being hogs representation? Was that your worst, Curtis?
Mm-hmm.
My worst, guys. This is actually going to be. This might actually get a little deep here. So the worst thing that I saw this week was, did y'all happen to see what Team USA collegiate national team was up to in Japan this week? Just getting their shit pushed in every game, bro.
Really?
The Japanese national team wiped the floor with Team USA, bro. It wasn't even close. It was crazy. I didn't see the stats for all the games. I saw one of them. There was like Ryder went over 4 in one of the games. Cole Gibbler had an inning where he gave up 4 runs and struck out 4 guys. It's tough to do both in one inning. It is tough to do both. It's tough to strike out 4 guys in one inning, period. You need a specific set of circumstances. Right. I think they were only one of the runs was earned, but That wasn't fun. But yeah, they just got waxed, man. Just got completely dominated in the whatever the name is for that series. It's cool that those guys got to go there. It's cool that we have 3 Hogs in Japan supporting us and representing us and all that. But maybe play better, guys. Come on, like we can't be doing that. But it leads me to another point here. Are we entering a danger zone in terms of, because I also saw that we lost the Gold Cup on Saturday. Did y'all know that?
I did. Mexico again.
Lost to Mexico.
Yeah.
Are Americans the best athletes in the world? Like, because we're really entering a stage. Think about all of the top 20 best MLB players. How many of them are American? Like 4? A few here and there, but there's really not many. Like Trout and Harper are kind of the last of a dying breed. It's a lot of international flavor. NBA, the top 20 NBA players, how many of them are American? A few here and there, but really not that many. Obviously, American football, we got that on lock. I think we're going to have that on lock for a while. Although, who knows? I mean, the NFL might be expanding to London and Germany and all this, so maybe that won't be the case forever. Are we really the best athletes on the planet anymore?
I think no, and it sucks because we want to be the best at everything. But man, it's getting harder to make the arguments when those are happening. I mean, even you mentioned a lot of them, like golf, for instance. Like golf has really started to have a lot of different outsiders and foreigners, getting in there and messing with our sports. But no, I mean, I think that there's something to be said about that. I don't know. I think we're just getting too fat as a nation. That's the problem. We're eating too good over here, man.
We are a little complacent as a country. And by the way, like I still think that we do have the edge. And like basketball, of course, Team USA still wins it all the time. That gap is closing though. Like Canada is not that far away from USA in basketball. I think Spain's obviously kind of there. France is kind of in that echelon too. Like we're not too far away though. I think the gap is just closing and it's a lot smaller than it used to be. And I think we might have to get our American football players stop playing football, play sports that other people play.
Well, they should play in the flag football thing. That's going to be an Olympic sport the next time around.
We'll get that one for sure.
Yeah.
But also, Curtis, fighting. I mean, think about MMA. How many of the best fighters in MMA are American? Like none of them.
Well, I'm going to say real quick on that flag football thing. Guys, I don't know. Like this, you got professional flag football players. And I just don't know if you can just throw in NFL guys and they're going to be just as good. Or just, they're football. It's like, man, it's a different sport.
You think Jamar Chase is going to be able to get open in flag football, John?
No, I know, but will he be able to grab flags? Like, well, I mean, would that happen? I don't know. I really don't.
We do need some good defenders for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, of course. For sure. Sorry, just got a funny email. Anyways, but yeah, that's pretty rough. Super chats real quick from Andrew. Appreciate it. Says, in your opinion, if the Hogs were to cut down the nets this year, it would be mainly because of winning. See, that could be a real jerk answer like you all give me sometimes too on my poll questions. So I'm going to be a sarcastic SOB and be like, I'm winning. Well, it would be because of winning. Jerks. Anyway, Curtis, I'll let you take that one since you're a basketball guy.
Shoot, man. There's so many different variables there. But I think it would be because your freshman hit. You know what I mean? Like if Darius Acuff was as good as advertised and the top freshman point guard in the country, if Malik Thomas lived up to the billing of an incoming McDonald's All-American and became that sniper for you, because you've got the returners and you already know what they're going to bring to the table. And sure, most of them are going to be improved. You expect Carter to take the next step, and Trevin looks a lot better, Billy too. But there's an element of, what you're going to get. What Nick Pringle is. The skill set that Malik Ewan has. You've got all those things in place, but the wild cards are always these freshmen because they haven't done it before on this stage. And there's a learning curve and some growing up to do. And when you think about John Calipari and his track record, it's freshman guards, man, who really get it done. And that was crazy, by the way.
That is so, guys, I apologize.
That was wild, but it would be those two guys. I think like if Acuff and Malik Thomas are both like SEC all freshman types of dudes, then I think you're looking at a team that could get to that point.
What's interesting is I think we've talked about it 1,000 times. Like you basically have to have one of the 10 best offenses in the country if you want to win the title. Like there's just never a team that makes a run and wins the Final Four without being really, really, really good offensively. And Arkansas hasn't had an offense that good in a really long time, honestly. Like you look at all of Arkansas's best teams, they haven't really had an offense good enough to actually win the title on paper. So obviously you have to be that, or you have to be close to that, and we'll see if Arkansas can do it. So I think I would say maybe the 3-point shooting would have to be better than it's expected to be, which probably goes without saying. But I'm also thinking about this from a defensive standpoint, Curtis. We always do this thing where we look at the 5 guys and we say, all right, this guy, he's a pretty good defender. Yeah, this guy's a liability, but this guy's a good defender. And you kind of add it all up and you're like, all right, so if you add it all up, but really team defense is always determined by factors that are not those things. You know, it's like really just a matter of how you play. I think this team has to figure something out. And I'm not saying like I'm worried about their defense. I think that like if they're going to really be this juggernaut, it would be because they're just way better defensively than I think we realize. And I'm not saying I don't even know the likelihood of it. I'd really have to see them play and stuff. But I think like of the best Arkansas teams we've seen in recent memory, they all hit a gear defensively in like January, February, where they just start clamping. And it's like they just kind of take their game to another level. Even last year's team really started doing that down the stretch where they were really defending at a high level. And so we'll see if they're able to do that. The answer though really is all of these things that we're saying kind of have to happen if you're going to win a title, but that's the case for anybody. I mean, if you go to Tennessee, Florida, any of these teams, they're going to need X, Y, and Z to happen.
We could also take the low hanging fruit too and just be like, it would happen because they stayed healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah. By the way, real quick, I want to tell you guys about that, what just happened in that, because I feel like I have to, because it's funny.
Sure.
So first off, I get pissed anytime that somebody calls or texts me when they know I do a show, like every day. And it happened in radio to me all the time. I wanted to punch a baby every time I know somebody knows that I'm going to be on the air every day at this time. And when you call me, you should know that I can't answer the phone. Either way, that was a FaceTime that was connected with my laptop.
Oh.
I never FaceTime. And the person that was FaceTiming me, guys, was Eddie in Clarksville.
No way.
No way.
So I have no idea if it was a butt dial. I don't know. I really wish I could have found a way to like put the FaceTime up on the screen and let's just talk to him. But either way, that's what that was.
Dude, your head got huge for a second there.
Like, I didn't want that. Nobody wants.
It was like a balloon getting blown up on the screen. It was crazy.
Do y'all have friends that like get upset with you when you don't answer their phone calls?
Yes.
Yes.
I've got this one buddy, and I'm not gonna say his name. He's big on calling, and it's not just me; it's our entire friend group. He'll call in the middle of the workday, like just 2:38 p.m. And obviously, that's when we're not doing the show. But I'm just like, I feel like calling someone on a Thursday at 3 is just hard to do. You know, it's like you're just assuming that I'm not doing anything, which there are a lot of days where I'm not. But I'm like, that's kind of tough. And so it's like if I don't answer, I feel like I shouldn't be held responsible.
Yeah, no, I feel like there's certain people though that call, like for instance, if one of you guys are calling me, it's not that if I can't answer it, I'm like, okay, there's a reason why they're calling me because they normally wouldn't. They'd shoot me a text. So if you're calling me, I'm like, all right, I need to answer this. But if it's, and same thing with like my buddy Devin. Devin hates talking on a phone more than anyone I've ever heard in my life. So it's like if he's calling me, okay, there must be a real reason why. But then there's the people where are just like wanting to chit chat. I'm like, come on, man, just don't get mad. It's like you think I look at your call and I'm like, I don't want to talk to that person, even though I just sent him a text 2 minutes ago. It's like maybe I'm doing something. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
It's not always the people who call that I don't want to talk to them. It's usually the folks that I like to talk to, but they don't take cues.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh well, yeah, well that sounds good. It's like, hey, we've been on the phone for 57 minutes and we talked about the same thing 5 different times. Like I kind of need to go, but I don't want to be a dick,
Yeah.
I've got a couple buddies like that, and I never answer their call unless it's like a weekend and I got nothing going on, and I'll call because it's like, hey, I've got a couple hours to spare. No offense, I love you guys, but
I got to ask you guys something real quick before we move on, because since it's summertime, it's Friday. Did you guys ever have a parent or somebody you knew that used to have like an intro to their phone when they'd answer it? Like for instance, my dad, he was in sales, and we always give him a hard time because he has a thick Arkansas accent, but he'd answer the phone the same way. This Jim Neighbors, may I help you? And it was just like that, like where before caller ID, like all of that stuff. Did you guys have any parents that did that?
I don't know about that. I had some friends who had it would be like their favorite song or whatever instead of the ring. And then I also have had some buddies in the past who I didn't understand how their particular voicemail worked. So it would be like the automated thing. It would be like, the caller you're trying to reach is unavailable, or like it would do that. And then you would hear hey, what's up? This is John. Can't come to the phone right now. Like you had both of them. It's like, this is stupid. It was just pick one or the other. What are we doing here?
Yeah, my dad was one of those guys that obviously grew up in the landline era, and where you answer the house phone and you actually do have to say, this is Tony, this is Pierce, this is whatever. He would answer his cell phone and be like, this is Tony. And I'm like, yeah, they know it's Tony, buddy. Like they're calling you, like they know. But yeah, because like when you answer the house phone, my sister used to always say, this is she. When they would say like, hey, can we speak to Robin? She'd be like, this is she. And I was like, why would you say that? But I'm the youngest of 5, so I always make fun of all the older people in my family for doing old man stuff.
Yeah. Well, again, since we're on the topic, I used to have a voicemail, when you can customize on your phone, and my voicemail would be, as soon as it click over, I'd be hello.
Oh,
hey.
You asshole.
Oh, dude, I did that. I thought it was hilarious. I remember my dad called me, and then one day he's like, I'm going to have me a phone if you do not change that voicemail right now. He's like, I'm not.
Sorry. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hey, leave a message after the tone. Oh God, you are the worst person on the planet for doing that. That is a bad thing to do.
Well, now, and this has got to be fairly new because I've only discovered it in the last few months here. You can answer a call while someone is leaving you a voicemail.
Yeah.
Like it could have already rang and gone to your voicemail, and they could be in the middle of leaving you a message, and you just be like, hello. I do that to Michelle sometimes. It freaks her out.
You know how I learned that? Spider-Man 2. Peter has to call MJ. He calls her on a payphone. And she just sits there and listens to the answer. And I'm like, answer the phone. Like, what are you doing? Just answer it. He's right. You hear him stumbling through this. Come on.
Oh, man. Good times. Well, I tell you what, since we're already basically balls deep into summer topics, let's just go ahead and keep it going with our summer topics of discussion here, presented by our friends at Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. We know summer is definitely here and in full swing. You want to take advantage of it. You want to take a weekend out on the lake and enjoy all the amenities that come along with that. Well, you may not have a boat. You may not know anybody with a boat, but that's okay because Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas is going to have you covered, where you give access to those boats without the commitment. And also, they have those 3 locations that are here in the state of Arkansas, whether it's Greers Ferry Lake, Lake Hamilton down there in Hot Springs, even the river right there in Little Rock. Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas is going to help make your summer in the natural state the best one yet. So check out their website today at freedomboatclubar.com. That's freedomboatclubar.com. And you can also check out the QR code right there on the screen. It's Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. Okay, real quick before we actually ask our questions too. Have you guys ever used a payphone? And if so, when was the last time you actually did?
I've used a payphone, but I was a child. Like I was very young. It's definitely a situation where I was with my mom or something. She's like, here's the nickel and here's how you do this.
Yeah. The last time, actually the only time I did it when I was a kid, and I learned a lesson that apparently you have to pay to use a payphone unless you call 911, because then you don't have to pay. And I found that one out as I tried it myself. And don't do that.
Did you guys ever make a collect call?
Yes.
I'm not.
Yes.
Who are you calling in jail?
Well, it doesn't have to be that, but yeah.
It's like collect calls could be anything. I had a friend of mine that moved away when I was in elementary school to like California. And I remember like my parents told me like, hey, you can call them, but you're going to, I don't even remember if it was 10-10-3-2-1 or, call collect, whatever it was. But yes, I have made one of those. And it's such an absurd notion thinking about nowadays and how it was done. So,
I've denied a collect call before.
Yeah, I'd probably deny him too.
Yeah. The thing is, if actually, you know what, but I do different. If today I got a collect call, I don't even know if that's exists anymore, but if today, if I got one, I would 100% accept it. Because I was like, I have to know why.
Where are you calling me from?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, I'd have to know. But okay. So real quick, our questions here, and then we'll get to your chat and we'll wrap up here. But just for sports side of things too, what would you guys say is the worst tradition in college sports?
Anything Texas A&M does.
Yeah, no, yeah, okay. It's all going to be College Station. I'm glad you said that. Everything they do. I mean, the Midnight Yell, what's crazy is the concept of the Midnight Yell is not a bad concept. I actually like the idea of getting together the night before the game and doing whatever. What they do is bad. That is the worst tradition. That kind of stuff.
That's bad.
As the back eggs,
I don't know if that's what you were getting at with tradition, John, but that's the first thing that came to my mind.
No, that's exactly what I was getting at. Okay. And it was just more of like, if there was, because I felt the same way. I was like, I immediately thought of A&M. I was like, maybe there's another one out there. that exists in the ether that is really stupid, or at least one of the worst ones ever. I will say though that I'm not saying they're bad, but there are things that I feel like get over the top. Sometimes in college sports, we over dramatize and get over the top with some of these traditions in college. It's like, oh, there's nothing better than this. There's just nothing better than this. And it's like, yeah, it's cool, but I got to sit there with the songs that are connected with stadiums now, like Won't Back Down at Florida. That's fine. But everyone acting like it's just, coolest tradition ever. It's like they play a song and they sing and it's great. But everyone's starting to have a song. Maybe it's because I'm jealous because I feel like, I'm on the outside looking in because Arkansas doesn't have one of those. But, they do Inner Sandman at Virginia Tech, Sandstorm, I believe, is at South Carolina, Dixieland Delight at Alabama. I guess LSU is Neck. Trying to think of any of the other ones. But those are fine. It's just, your traditions is that you found a song that everyone likes and you sing to it. Okay, that's cool.
I wouldn't have a problem with it if Arkansas would have just utilized War Pigs as they were supposed to for 50 years now. Why are we not? We did it with basketball for a while there. During the Devo Davis era, I vividly remember they would play War Pigs right before tip-off, and it was electric every single game. Those are some of the best atmospheres we've ever seen. I don't know if it's because of the song, but it's like that song gets me going anyway. War Pigs, like, why are we not utilizing that?
I've got to say, I agree with William Squared here.
Yeah,
that this belongs on the list. The cowbells at Mississippi, that's tough.
Ooh,
that's
Camo
tough.
Gang, great call here.
Yes,
we have to end swag surfing, especially
at the U of A.
Mostly white schools too. Like, I don't know, I'm just not into it,
dude. Texas Tech basketball, their swag surf is electric. Like it's not just the students, it's the entire building. It's pretty awesome. Like if you can do it right, then sure. But yeah, you're 100% on something there, Andrew. That's just, there are certain places that just can't do it. Unfortunately, the U of A is one of them. It's got to go away.
I'll tell you a bad tradition in college sports. Penn State and sexual misconduct. Have y'all seen that their wrestling program is they've got some guys that are in some hot water?
I did not see that.
Penn State wrestling is also like a super big powerhouse too. And they've got 3 guys who are accused of sexual misconduct, which, as you guys know, not the first time there has been some foul play going on in the sex department at Penn State athletics.
It's not a pattern you want to have.
It's a tough tradition to have.
Yeah, definitely is that. I was also going to throw in, this is in all sports actually and everything, the wave. I hate the wave.
Oh, the wave sucks.
I hate the wave.
I have just never been in a time when I'm like, you know what? This is good. This is fun. It's like at Omaha, they were doing it, guys. Like in the College World Series, I'm like, there is a game going on. I hate it. It's the worst thing ever. And call me lame or whatever, but my favorite thing ever was when Blake Edens, my guy, he was on the Razorback basketball broadcast and they were doing it. This was years ago, but they were doing the game in Little Rock or North Little Rock. And they started doing the wave, and he got so mad. This is on television. He got so mad. He's like, "This is the stupidest thing." And then I forgot who was the play-by-play, but he's like, "Hey, you don't like the wave, Blake?" He goes, "Yeah, if I'm at a Nickelback concert or something stupid like that, but I'm not going about to do it here." So I was like, "I'm glad other people agree, but I hate the wave."
At least in Omaha, like I think the wave is something you do if you're a neutral observer. You know what I mean? Like if we're all just there, so it kind of makes sense that it happens in Omaha. But I do hate it when it's the 6th inning of an important game and we're freaking waving. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Good.
Well, that and the stupid beach balls got to go. They got to go, man.
Beach balls got to go. They toned it down. They had it on lock. I think it was only once or twice I saw a stoppage. What are y'all's thoughts on West Virginia burning the couches? Is that a cool tradition?
Yeah,
sure. I actually kind of like it.
Yeah, I'm down for that. That gives me like high school pep rally vibes,
Yeah. Well, when it's like if someone chooses to offer up their old couch, who am I to say you can't burn it,
Yeah. Well, that's like, we talked last year. I know it wasn't technically a tradition, but how college football is just so unique, where when Vanderbilt beat Alabama last year, they tore the goalpost down and had a police escort walking them down Broadway to throw the thing in the river. Like that. What other sport are you going to get cool stuff like that? That's just what happens.
This isn't a college sports thing, but I remember something that used to bother me, and it probably shouldn't have. When I would go to St. Louis Cardinals baseball games, they have a mascot. His name's Fredbird, just a dressed up Cardinal. And he would just roam around the stands the entire game. And every child that he found, he just just put a beak on his head. The beak would go directly over the top of your head. It happened to me a couple times. I'm like, bro, I'm not a worm. Like you don't eat me, man. It's awkward. I don't need this random human in a bird costume engulfing my head. I don't like it. Wasn't a fan of that.
Shout out to the War Eagle at Auburn. That one time that he just flew right into the glass. Because I mean, Curtis, birds fly in the glass a lot. When the Auburn War Eagle did it, and I think he may have passed away that day. It was hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, since you've already said open the door to something awful to say, I will not lie, guys. It's still, in a way, makes me laugh when Harvey Updike poisoned those trees at Toomer's Corner.
Oh, no, dude. I told Hillary about that the other day. I was like, dude, do you know about this? Like, this is one of the funniest things that's ever happened.
I mean, like, I talked to my Bama fan friend about that, and he's just, I was like, what was y'all's reaction? He was in college at Alabama when it happened. I was like, what was y'all's first reaction? He's like, we thought it was the funniest thing and greatest thing ever. Like, but it's horrible, but it's like funny in a horrible way. It's dark.
We're not promoting it now,
yeah,
but it is funny objectively.
Yes, exactly. Sorry, Quinn. Let's see. Okay, real quick, we'll have some chats too. But as far as food goes, what's the best on-the-go food item in the history of mankind? I'm going to go ahead and give mine before Alice steals it, like, normal. But I'm going to say Pop-Tart. To me, Pop-Tart, just there's something great about going in, grabbing one, eating it on the go. That, or as you guys know, in traveling, the little package of Planters peanuts. I'm a fan of those. So to me, those are the best two.
Pop-Tart was high up there on my list, so I'll pivot to the lunch version of a Pop-Tart and go Hot Pocket. When's the last time you guys had a Hot Pocket?
Probably 3 or 4 years, but I like a good Hot Pocket. Me too.
They come in they have the little case that keeps them warm or whatever, so you can carry them around, eat them on the go. You got to be careful, but yeah.
It's a great. Well, I was wondering too. Now that we have technology, I wonder how a Hot Pocket would be like in an air fryer. Because before it was only microwaves. But what would a Hot Pocket be in an air fryer?
I bet it would be good.
I would think.
Pop-Tart is definitely a very good one. What's the term for the little? I think it was cuties. Those little oranges that were like this big.
Yeah.
I used to love those, bro. Yeah, very, very easy to peel, which is the big difference between them and a normal orange. Is like some oranges, you're sitting there and you're like tearing off stuff for 20 minutes or whatever. That's a good one. For some reason, I kind of misinterpreted this when I first read it. Like I was thinking of when you said on the go, I was thinking of stuff that you could eat while driving and stuff like that. Because I was thinking about that. There's a lot of, because I eat fast food a lot. Again, it's not a secret. Something about McDonald's fries are the best. They never last the car ride. Nobody's ever went to McDonald's and got the fries and then just waited till they got home to eat any of them. And usually you eat, and nobody also eats one and then stops. You usually eat a ton. But I was thinking of any type of burrito, whether it's, breakfast burrito or, obviously not like a Chipotle type of burrito, but any small breakfast burrito that you can just, even if you have them at your house or you pick them up or whatever. Shout out to Rudy's by my house now, because I think I shouted them out on the show before. They have the grab and go breakfast burritos, and nice. it's just a great way to start my day.
I'm pretty sure it was you, Andrew, and when we were in Omaha, that grabbed an iced honey bun.
Yes.
At the gas station.
Curtis died laughing when he just saw me grab an iced honey bun. He was like, "Really, bro? That's what you're getting?"
This would qualify though, and we were on the go, so it makes sense.
I think me and Curtis, we have one of our favorite things in our traveling is to see what Ellis gets at convenience stores, because it's not to say that it's bad or anything. It's just interesting. I find it fascinating of what you're going to walk out with next. It's because see, I'm a creature of habit where I just get the same stuff all the time: peanut butter M&Ms and a thing of peanuts and a Coke Zero. But it's like Ellis, he's got quite the palate. You can have a bunch of different stuff.
I'll tell you what I haven't had in a while. When's the last time y'all had a Nutri-Grain bar?
It's been a minute, but
those are good. And look, I love those what's the term I'm looking for? The little green package, and it's got the little bar, the little oats bar.
The Nature Valley things?
The Nature Valley ones that the crumbs are everywhere. That's not a good on-the-go food item because they're hard to eat, But Nutri-Grain is good because it's just simple. My mom used to get them all the time. I haven't gotten them since I moved out, but I like that. I wish I would get back on my Nutri-Grain.
Well, as long as you guys didn't say anything about walking tacos, then I think we're all good.
I almost said, I was like, that's not a good on-the-go food, I don't think.
It's It's not. And finally, here, I know that we all may have different variations of our gaming experience, but what is just y'all's thoughts on the greatest video game theme song of all time?
Oh, GoldenEye 007.
Oh my
Nintendo
God, that's
64.
a great one.
Yeah.
Damn, I saw this on Twitter earlier. Some days I don't check, some days I do. And I was sitting there and I was like, dude, I don't really know that many great video game themes, but that is one that I do know and I just blanked on.
Yeah. That one's electric.
So like I'm trying to think. So okay, I didn't even play Halo. I wasn't even a Halo guy, but I know that song is up there. Curtis, have you seen the video of Mike Perry when he was in the UFC and he was trying to walk out to the Halo theme song, and instead they gave him Halo by Beyonce, and he was walking out, and Mike Perry's a very funny guy, and he's like, what the hell is this? This is supposed to be Halo. What is this? He was like baffled by it. And John, I thought you would think that was funny just because it's like, imagine thinking you're getting ready for a fist fight. And the Halo theme song, very good song to listen to as you're going into a fist fight. That's the right vibe. Halo by Beyonce, and which is a great song, by the way. Not what you want to listen to as you're about to go fight another man to the death.
No, in fact, that was mine was Halo, because I think it was just the like middle of the night when you play video games with your buddies and you stay up until the wee hours of the morning and suddenly you're delirious and you keep hearing, like just the echoing thing is just, I don't know if I was dreaming or if I was asleep or what, but to me that was definitely
spiritual almost.
Yeah. So that one, like, then the old school ones of like Super Mario Brothers, I thought, like stuff people are gonna bring up.
Yeah, I'll tell you one that I think is underrated. And again, this is like my fourth Spider-Man reference of this show. The PS4 Spider-Man game that came out 2018 had a tremendous soundtrack, and it just had good vibes. And when I was playing that game every day, it like really lifted my spirits up a little bit. I feel like there's one I'm blanking up. Oh, one thing I love about the new college football game, they have like in the menu, it's usually band music and it's fight songs or whatever. They've mixed in some like pop culture songs that are like played by college bands. Like they have Weekend, Blinding Lights is on there. Better Now by Post Malone's on there. Like they've got a few. There's some other song. What's that song? Never Scared. I forget who sings it. Y'all know the song I'm talking about. They have the band version of that on the game. That's one of my favorite parts about the game.
Yeah, Bone Crusher is
Bone Crushers.
That's who it was. Well, there you go. All right. Well, before we wrap up, let's go ahead and get in some chats presented by our friends over at BetSaracen, the number one sports betting app in the state of Arkansas. Not even close. You can download it on your iPhone or on your Android. You can also check them out at BetSaracen.com. A few super chats here. Andrew also comes in and says, rank the most likely to happen: B-ball Final Four, baseball championship, football bowl game.
Most likely. I mean, I think they're all pretty likely, honestly.
Yeah, like I would probably go, crazy as it sounds, most likely would be a football bowl game.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I go B-ball Final Four, and then I go baseball championship. It's just very elusive. I know they were close, but there's such a difference in getting to the Final Four and winning the entire thing, which Arkansas baseball just learned the hard way. But I think that's where I would rank them.
I think I would agree with that ranking, honestly. Not to say Final Four is easy to go to, but you can fluke your way to a Final Four. In fact, we've seen it happen a lot. Teams that you can't fluke your way to a national title in basketball. Really, I know that sounds crazy. That you can win 4, but you can't win 6. But we see a lot of teams that just randomly end up in the Final Four.
Mm-hmm. Butler's had those opportunities.
Football, bowl games, you can be bad and get to a bowl game. You can't really fluke your way to a baseball national title. And so even if you think Arkansas is far and away the best team, they probably only have like a 10% chance to win it.
Yeah. In fact, I would even like do it this way. Say, I think it's more likely that Arkansas Razorback baseball and basketball wins the national championship than Razorback football makes the college football playoff.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Which is
crazy. In a particular year, I think baseball and basketball are national title contenders.
Yep. Heartbroken Hog just we were talking about flag football. He's like, imagine Fred Warner as a goalie. And
I've never understood why goalies in hockey are not just 450 pounds.
Yeah, just take up the entire net.
Right. Like I see these guys that are like 6'1", 190 as goalies, and I'm like, get someone like just get Vince Wilfork out there, man.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't need to be super athletic if I take up the entire goal. You can't get it past me.
Yeah.
Got the pads on too.
It makes sense to me. Can't argue that logic. I'm sure there's a reason why. We're gonna have some hockey aficionados coming back. Actually, here's why. Like it's about the girth of the goal. It's like, okay, whatever. Real quick, Hog Fan 40 ounce says the best athletes in America play football.
Yeah, I think that's
Close to it at least.
Some truth to that.
Yeah. And then we just got a guy from Katie says, long time listener, you guys are great. Hey, thanks.
Thank you.
Hell
That's very
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Boy's a pole bender. I like the profile picture.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for the weekend?
Oh man. Yeah. To echo what John said earlier, thanks to everybody for still rocking with us here in July in the dog days. Things are about to heat up. Don't worry about it. And looking forward to what we got coming up. Next week's schedule might be kind of weird with SEC Media Day and everything going on, but that's why you need to have that notification bell on. That's why you need to be subscribed to the Inside Arkansas YouTube channel. Follow along. We got a lot coming your way.
Well, shoot. The CC's going to hurt, but people forget before he fumbled that ball against Texas, C.J. Brown, he looked pretty good. So I don't know, man. And we might be able to make it work at wide receiver. And plus, as Trey Biddy pointed out, Taylor Greenstone to football, it don't matter who's catching it. So we're going to be all right. We're going to make you guys proud. I tell you that.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching in Inside Arkansas Live. Be sure to subscribe to us here in Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page. Follow all of our podcasts wherever podcasts are found in the audio form, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, or the Bombastic Podcast. And be sure to check out our social media at Inside Arkansas. So that'll do it for us. For Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Next Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we will see you.